21. Black celebrities who are dying and you didn't know. We grew up admiring them, our heroes on the screen, on the stage, and in the spotlight. But what if I told you that behind the glamour, many of these black legends are quietly fighting for their lives? From life-threatening illnesses to silent struggles that rarely make headlines, their stories reveal a side the media often ignores. This isn't just about fame. It's about survival, courage, and the hidden battles of icons we thought were untouchable. Stay with us as we uncover the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Legends of Black Excellence for more untold stories. Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington is more than a name in Hollywood. He is a symbol of excellence, discipline, and the kind of enduring presence that transcends generations. Born in 1954, he has spent more than 4 decades captivating audiences with performances that range from heroic soldiers to flawed anti-heroes. His filmography includes unforgettable works like Glory 1989, Malchus, 1992, Training Day 2001, and Fences. Throughout his career, Washington was known for pushing his body to extremes for the sake of authenticity. For example, while preparing for roles that demanded rapid weight changes, intense training regimens, and grueling schedules, he often sacrificed his long-term health. Today, at 69 years old, those choices echo in his body. Hypertension and cardiovascular issues have made it harder for him to keep up the same tireless energy he once displayed on film sets. Reports indicate that he has had to monitor his blood pressure carefully and undergo regular heart checkups. For a man once seen as unbreakable, this shift has been sobering not only for him, but for fans who grew up believing their hero was untouchable. But Washington's true brilliance has always been his discipline. On set, even when fatigue weighed him down or his heart raced under pressure, he maintained control. Colleagues often describe his ability to remain composed, delivering powerful lines while concealing any visible weakness. That quiet strength has become his trademark, the sense that he can carry the weight of the story no matter how heavy without letting the audience see the strain. Isn't it remarkable how much we demand from our stars without realizing the sacrifices they make off camera? The irony of Washington's struggle is that his career continues to flourish. Recent projects like The Tragedy of Macbeth 2021 and ongoing collaborations with younger filmmakers prove he has no intention of slowing down completely. Yet fans have noticed subtle changes. Fewer roles each year, more deliberate pacing, and a focus on projects that matter to him personally rather than the sheer volume of work. These decisions are not simply artistic. They are also about managing his health and ensuring that whatever time he has left on screen is used meaningfully. What makes his story even more compelling is how it reflects his off-screen philosophy. Washington has often said that life is about faith, discipline, and balance. In interviews, he encourages younger generations not to chase fame recklessly, but to prioritize integrity and long-term well-being. His own health struggles serve as a living testament to that wisdom. Even as his body weakens, his mind and spirit remain sharp, reminding us that greatness is not about avoiding hardship, but confronting it with dignity. For fans, watching Denzel Washington today stirs a mix of admiration and concern. We celebrate every new role, every red carpet appearance, but we also sense the vulnerability beneath the legend. And perhaps that is the most humanizing lesson of all. Heroes grow older, they struggle, and they too must fight battles we cannot see. Janet Jackson. Janet Jackson's name is etched into music history as more than just the younger sister of Michael Jackson. She is a powerhouse in her own right. Since her breakthrough with Control in 1986, Janet has consistently redefined pop and R&B, delivering hits like Rhythm Nation 1814, That's the Way Love Goes, and Together Again. With over 100 million records sold, 5 Grammy Awards, and countless MTV and Billboard honors, she became one of the most influential female performers of all time. Beyond the numbers, she became a symbol of independence, empowerment, and resilience, inspiring generations of women to embrace their voices unapologetically. But behind her flawless choreography, iconic fashion, and powerhouse performances, Janet has carried a burden that few outside her inner circle fully grasp. For years, she has wrestled with a severe vocal cord condition, one that has threatened to rob her of the very instrument that made her a global star. Singing something that once flowed effortlessly has become unpredictable. At times, her voice cracks in mid-performance, falters at high notes, or fades unexpectedly, creating both physical and emotional strain. For a perfectionist who built her career on precision and excellence, this has been devastating. Imagine walking on stage before tens of thousands, never knowing if your voice will hold steady or betray you in front of millions watching worldwide. Would you still have the courage to perform, knowing failure could unfold in real time? That is the battle Janet has faced night after night. Her determination, however, remains unshakable. Fans who have followed her world tours know the immense preparation behind each show, hours of rehearsals, vocal therapy, breathing exercises, and a grueling fitness regimen. She has admitted in interviews that the pressure is immense, especially when audiences expect the same flawless Janet from decades ago. Unlike a broken instrument that can be replaced, damaged vocal cords can never fully be restored. Yet she continues to fight for her craft, embodying resilience at every step. The weight of her health struggles is compounded by the scrutiny that has followed her for decades. From the infamous Super Bowl incident in 2004 to her high-profile marriages and becoming a mother at 50, Janet has lived much of her personal life under a magnifying glass. But rather than retreat, she has leaned into her vulnerabilities, reminding the world that legends are not immune to pain or imperfection. What keeps her going is her unshakable connection to her audience. Janet has always said that performing is not just about entertaining, it is about creating a bond, a shared moment of truth between her and her fans. Even when her voice trembles, she pours her heart into every lyric, every move, as if to say, "I am still here and I am still fighting." Janet Jackson's journey is not only about fame or survival. It is about the courage to confront fragility while continuing to inspire millions. Her legacy proves that true greatness is not measured by perfection, but by the strength to stand on stage, vulnerable yet unbroken, giving everything she has left for the love of music. Samuel L. Jackson. Samuel L. Jackson is one of the most recognizable figures in Hollywood, a commanding presence with a voice so powerful that it feels like it could cut through steel. Born in 1948, Jackson's journey from a struggling actor in New York to one of the highest-grossing actors of all time is legendary. With box office hits such as Pulp Fiction, Django Unchained, and his iconic role as Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he has earned a reputation for intensity, versatility, and relentless work ethic. But behind that unshakable exterior lies a man who has faced battles far greater than any he ever portrayed on screen. In the 1970s and 1980s, long before global fame, Jackson spiraled into a dangerous cycle of drug and alcohol addiction. Cocaine and alcohol nearly consumed his life, threatening not only his career, but his very survival. At one point, his family staged an intervention, forcing him into rehabilitation. That decision became a turning point, one that saved him from an early death and allowed him to step into the greatness we know today. By the 1990s, clean and sober, Jackson's career skyrocketed, and he became a living example of redemption. Yet addiction leaves scars that time cannot erase. Now, in his mid-70s, Jackson openly admits that the years of abuse took a toll on his health. He suffers from fatigue and must be vigilant about his physical condition, particularly his heart and overall stamina. His age only magnifies these challenges, forcing him to balance the demands of blockbuster sets with the reality of a body that cannot endure the same punishment it once could. Jackson has refused to let illness or age define him. He is meticulous about his health routines, undergoing regular checkups, following strict diets, and maintaining discipline habits ingrained in him since his recovery from addiction. His perseverance is not only about extending his career, but about setting an example for younger generations in the industry. He often shares that his greatest accomplishment is not fame or money, but survival, choosing life when destruction was so close. Even with occasional pauses in filming due to health concerns, Jackson remains in demand. Audiences may notice fewer roles than in his peak years, But every appearance carries weight, every performance a reminder of his enduring brilliance. His story is not just about talent, it is about resilience, about proving that one can rebuild after collapse and continue to inspire millions. Samuel L. Jackson stands today as both a survivor and a teacher. He teaches us that greatness is not about avoiding failure, but about confronting demons, accepting scars, and still moving forward with courage. For fans, his life is not only entertainment, it is a testimony to the human spirit's ability to fight, fall, and rise again. Whoopi Goldberg. Whoopi Goldberg is one of the rare entertainers who can truly be called a trailblazer. Born Karen Elaine Johnson in 1955, she rose from modest beginnings in New York City to become only the second black woman in history to win an Academy Award for acting, claiming the Oscar for Ghost in 1991. Over her remarkable career, Goldberg has earned an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, and EGOT. Something very few performers in the world have achieved. She became a household name through films like The Color Purple 1985, where her powerful portrayal of Celie earned her an Oscar nomination, and through decades of work in television comedy and humanitarian causes. Yet beyond her humor, wit, and activism, Goldberg has faced a health battle so serious it nearly ended her life. In early 2019, fans were shocked when she suddenly disappeared from The View, the daytime talk show she had co-hosted for years. Rumors swirled until she returned months later to reveal the devastating truth: she had contracted a severe case of pneumonia in both lungs, which quickly escalated into sepsis. Doctors told her she was dangerously close to death. "I almost left this earth," she admitted, her voice trembling as she described the terrifying ordeal. For weeks, she struggled just to breathe. Each night was a fight against exhaustion and fear, unsure if she would ever wake up again. The recovery was grueling. Even after leaving the hospital, Goldberg required oxygen support and months of rest. Her once commanding voice grew softer, her physical strength diminished, and her presence on screen became less frequent. For someone who had always projected resilience, it was a humbling reminder that even legends are not invincible. Would you have had the courage to share such a vulnerable moment with millions of viewers as she did? Despite these setbacks, Goldberg refused to be defined by illness. She returned to The View not as the indestructible icon audiences had always known, but as a survivor. She chose honesty, openly discussing her health scare, to raise awareness about pneumonia and the importance of paying attention to warning signs. In doing so, she transformed her personal struggle into a public lesson, reminding fans that neglecting health, even for a single day, can have life-threatening consequences. Goldberg's journey is also deeply tied to her activism. Beyond her personal recovery, she has long used her platform to advocate for social justice, women's rights, and racial equality. Surviving pneumonia and sepsis only strengthened her resolve to live with purpose. She admitted that the experience gave her a new reverence for life, making her more appreciative of every moment she spends on stage or with loved ones. Today, at 69, Whoopi Goldberg continues to inspire with her humor, wisdom, and resilience. Though she may no longer command the same physical energy as in her prime, her presence remains undeniable. She is proof that strength is not the absence of weakness, but the courage to face it head-on and rise again. For her fans, Goldberg's survival is more than just a comeback. It's an anthem of hope, reminding us that even when life threatens to silence you, it is possible to fight back and reclaim your voice. Serena Williams. Serena Williams is not just a tennis champion. She is a force of nature, a cultural icon, and one of the most dominant athletes the world has ever seen. Born in 1981 in Saginaw, Michigan, Serena began training at a young age under the guidance of her father, Richard Williams, alongside her sister, Venus. By 2002, she had already claimed the world's #1 ranking, and over her career she amassed 23 Grand Slam singles titles, the most of any player in the Open era, cementing her legacy as one of the greatest of all time. Her aggressive style, powerful serve, and unshakable mental toughness redefined women's tennis, shattering barriers of both race and gender. But behind her dazzling career, Serena has faced health battles that nearly cost her life. In September 2017, she gave birth to her daughter, Alexis Olympia Ohanian Jr. What should have been a joyous moment turned into a terrifying ordeal. Shortly after delivery, she developed a pulmonary embolism, a dangerous blood clot in the lungs. Serena, who had a history of blood clots, immediately recognized the symptoms and demanded a CT scan, which ultimately saved her life. For weeks afterward, she struggled to breathe, battled excruciating pain, and feared she might not live to see her newborn grow up. The recovery was long and emotional. Williams had to step away from tennis, and during that time she spoke candidly about the trauma of childbirth complications that disproportionately affect Black women in America. Statistics show that Black women are nearly 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related issues than white women in the United States. Serena used her global platform to shine a light on this crisis, becoming not only a champion on the court, but also an advocate for women's health. Isn't it remarkable how someone at the peak of athletic perfection can still face such life-threatening fragility? Despite the scare, Serena returned to tennis just months later, reaching 4 Grand Slam finals after giving birth, an extraordinary achievement by any measure. Though she didn't claim another major title before stepping back from professional play in 2022, her comeback itself was a triumph, a testament to resilience and determination. She showed the world that motherhood and elite athleticism are not mutually exclusive, inspiring millions of women who juggle careers, health challenges, and family. Beyond tennis, Serena's influence reaches far. She has built businesses, invested in startups, and become a voice for equality, empowerment, and perseverance. Her struggles with health did not diminish her power, they amplified it. By sharing her vulnerability, she gave strength to others facing their own hidden battles. Serena Williams remains a symbol of endurance. Her story is not only about winning trophies, but about surviving against the odds. She has proven that even when life threatens to silence your brilliance, you can fight back, reclaim your place, and continue to inspire. For Serena, the greatest victory is not on the scoreboard. It is in showing the world what true strength looks like when everything seems impossible. Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton is one of the most distinctive voices of the 1990s. A singer whose warm contralto could glide from soulful whispers to soaring power notes with effortless grace. Born in Severn, Maryland in 1967, she began her career singing in church before rising to fame with her 1993 self-titled debut album. That record sold more than 10 million copies worldwide, earning her 3 Grammy Awards, including Best New Artist. With timeless ballads like Unbreak My Heart, Breathe Again, and He Wasn't Man Enough, Braxton became the soundtrack of a generation, a queen of R&B who reigned across charts and arenas. But fame could not shield her from a devastating diagnosis. In 2010, Braxton revealed to the world that she had been battling lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease that attacks healthy tissues and organs. For her, it meant constant fatigue, unpredictable flare-ups, and excruciating joint pain. Lupus does not follow a schedule. One day she could sing with power, the next she could barely stand. Hospitalizations became frequent, and on more than one occasion doctors warned her that organ failure was a very real risk. In interviews, she confessed, "Some days I feel like I am going to die, but I keep going." This brutal reality forced her to cancel tours, postpone albums, and reconsider the way she approached her career. Her most powerful instrument, her voice, felt fragile, slipping away when she needed it most. For an artist who built her empire on stage, the thought of losing her ability to sing was almost unbearable. Imagine standing before thousands of fans and wondering whether your own body would betray you on the very first note. Would you still have the courage to walk onto that stage? Braxton chose courage. She became an outspoken advocate for lupus awareness, using her platform to draw attention to the disease, particularly in the Black community, where health disparities often delay diagnosis and treatment. Beyond the statistics and medical realities, she offered her personal story, raw, vulnerable, and inspiring, to let others know they were not alone in their battles. Her resilience extended beyond music. She appeared on television, from Braxton Family Values to acting projects, proving that illness would not silence her artistry. She adapted, finding ways to pace her energy and protect her health while continuing to create. Fans admire her not just for her voice, but for her determination to keep going, to find strength in vulnerability, and to turn pain into purpose. Toni Braxton's journey shows that being a legend is not about living without weakness. It is about pushing forward despite it. Her story is both heartbreaking and uplifting, a superstar humbled by illness yet rising above it with dignity and perseverance. She remains a beacon for anyone fighting silent battles, proving that true artistry is not only measured in notes sung, but in the courage to sing when every breath feels uncertain. Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou was more than a writer. She was a cultural force whose words carried the weight of history and the fire of resilience. Born in 1928 in St. Louis, Missouri, she lived a life marked by struggle, triumph, and unrelenting courage. Her 1969 autobiography, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, remains a groundbreaking work not only for its artistry, but for its honesty in confronting issues of race, identity, and womanhood. Over the decades, Angelou became a poet, singer, dancer, actress, activist, and teacher, an extraordinary Renaissance woman whose voice influenced generations. She recited her poem On the Pulse of Morning at President Bill Clinton's inauguration in 1993, a moment that solidified her place as a national treasure. Yet beneath the brilliance of her public life, Angelou endured private struggles with her health. In her later years, she suffered from serious heart and respiratory problems, conditions that made even the simplest daily activities difficult. Long flights, public readings, and stage appearances became taxing as her breathing grew shallow, and her body often rebelled against her desire to keep moving forward. Still, she pressed on, refusing to let illness silence her voice. At times, she appeared in a wheelchair, but her words retained the same thunderous strength they always carried. Even as her health declined, she continued to publish books, lecture across the world, and mentor younger artists. Audiences often remarked that her presence, even when physically weakened, carried an almost spiritual power. How many of us facing such pain would still summon the strength to stand before thousands and deliver words of inspiration? Angelou's perseverance was not about denial, it was about legacy. She knew that her time was limited, and yet she poured herself into her work, determined to leave behind every ounce of wisdom she could. She often spoke of the importance of courage, kindness, and resilience, messages drawn directly from her own lived experience. Each poem, each speech was infused with the urgency of someone who understood that life is fragile, yet meaning can be found in every breath we take. Her passing in 2014 at the age of 86 left a void in literature, activism, and the global community. But even in her final battles with illness, she taught us one last lesson: that dignity can coexist with decline, that the human spirit can burn bright even as the body grows frail. Maya Angelou's story reminds us that greatness is not only about accomplishments, but also about endurance. She embodied the power of art to heal, to challenge, and to transform. Her words continue to live on, etched into classrooms, bookshelves, and hearts around the world. For those who still read her poetry or watch her speeches, Maya Angelou remains alive, not as a figure untouched by pain, but as a woman who faced it all and chose to rise. Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan has long been known as one of comedy's sharpest voices, a performer whose energy and outrageous humor made him unforgettable. Born in 1968 in the Bronx, New York, Morgan carved out his path on the tough stages of New York's comedy clubs before gaining national attention on Saturday Night Live in 1996. His hilarious characters and fearless delivery won him fans across the globe. Later, he reached new heights as Tracy Jordan on 30 Rock, a role that earned him Emmy nominations and cemented his place in television history. Yet behind the laughter, Morgan's life was marked by a tragedy that nearly silenced him forever. In June 2014, tragedy struck when Morgan's limousine was hit by a Walmart truck on the New Jersey Turnpike. The accident was catastrophic. One of his closest friends and fellow comedians, James McNair, was killed. Morgan himself suffered devastating injuries, a broken leg, broken ribs, and most dangerously, a traumatic brain injury. For weeks, he was in a coma, hovering between life and death. When he finally awoke, the road ahead was one of the hardest battles he would ever face. Rehabilitation was grueling. He had to relearn how to walk, how to talk, and how to regain basic motor functions that most of us take for granted. Simple movements were painful, and the emotional trauma of losing a friend in the crash weighed heavily on him. "I was not sure if I'd ever be funny again," he admitted in interviews. Isn't it remarkable how a man who once made the world laugh had to fight just to smile again? Despite the immense pain, Morgan refused to give up. With the support of his family and months of therapy, he slowly regained his strength. Just 1 year after the crash, he made a triumphant return to the public eye, appearing at the 2015 Emmy Awards. His presence drew a standing ovation, a powerful reminder of resilience and survival. He later returned to Saturday Night Live as a host, proving that comedy was not only still within him, but also a part of what helped him heal. The years since have not been without challenges. Morgan continues to deal with lingering pain and the long-term effects of his injuries. But he has also turned his suffering into strength, using his story to inspire others facing adversity. He has said that the accident gave him a new appreciation for life, making him more present with his loved ones and more grateful for each day he gets to perform. Tracy Morgan's legacy is no longer just about comedy, it's about survival. He stands as a reminder that even when the world crashes down, the human spirit can rebuild itself. His laughter today carries more than humor. It carries hope. For fans, his journey is proof that resilience, faith, and determination can carry us through even the darkest moments. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy is a name synonymous with laughter, charisma, and groundbreaking comedy. Born in 1961 in Brooklyn, New York, he burst onto the scene in the early 1980s as a cast member of Saturday Night Live. With his sharp wit, daring sketches, and unforgettable impersonations, Murphy quickly became the show's breakout star. His transition to film was nothing short of spectacular. 48, Hers Trading Places, and Beverly Hills Cop turned him into a global sensation. By the mid-80s, he was not only one of the highest-paid comedians, but also one of the most bankable actors in Hollywood. With iconic films like Coming to America, The Nutty Professor, and Shrek, Murphy cemented his status as a generational talent who reshaped modern comedy. Behind the magnetic smile and effortless performances, however, lies a more complex and vulnerable story. Years of working under immense pressure to stay on top of the entertainment industry took a toll on his health. At the height of his fame, Murphy often worked tirelessly, balancing blockbuster shoots with worldwide tours and media obligations. The stress began to manifest physically, leading to weight fluctuations and episodes of fatigue that raised concerns about long-term well-being. The relentless pursuit of perfection, coupled with the demands of always being on, created hidden cracks beneath the polished surface. Murphy's challenges became more visible as time passed. Public appearances sometimes showed a man battling exhaustion rather than exuding the boundless energy fans had come to expect. He has openly acknowledged that staying healthy while constantly performing is a test of endurance. Imagine standing before millions expected to deliver laughter even when your body whispers that it needs rest. Despite these struggles, Murphy has shown remarkable resilience. He stepped back from the spotlight in the 2010s, not as a retreat, but as an opportunity to prioritize his health and family. That decision proved transformative. By focusing on wellness and balance, he re-emerged, reinvigorated, ready to reclaim his place in entertainment on his own terms. His 2019 performance in Dolomite Is My Name reminded the world of his brilliance, earning him critical acclaim and renewed respect from audiences who had missed his presence. Murphy's story is not only about fame, but also about the humanity behind the legend. His journey underscores how even the brightest stars carry invisible burdens. Yet his ability to endure, reinvent, and rise again speaks to the true nature of resilience. Fans who once knew him only as a comedic powerhouse now see a man who has survived the grueling toll of celebrity life and continues to create with passion. Eddie Murphy's legacy extends far beyond jokes and box office numbers. It lies in his ability to make people laugh through storms, his own and the world's. His life reminds us that legends are not defined by their struggles, but by their determination to stand tall in spite of them. Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg, born Calvin Cortazar Broadus Jr. in 1971, is more than a rapper. He is an icon who transformed hip-hop culture with his smooth flow, West Coast swagger, and unapologetic authenticity. Discovered by Dr. Dre and introduced to the world through the 1992 album The Chronic Snoop, became an instant sensation. His debut album, Doggy Style 1993, sold over 11 million copies worldwide, making him one of the most successful rappers of all time. Over the decades, he has reinvented himself time and again, from rapper to actor, producer, entrepreneur, and even reggae artist as Snoop Lion. His collaborations span genres from Pharrell Williams to Katy Perry, proving his adaptability and enduring relevance. Yet behind the cool exterior and laid-back persona, Snoop has faced serious health challenges linked to his lifestyle. For much of his career, he lived at a frenetic pace, touring, performing, and embracing a hard-partying lifestyle that included heavy marijuana use. While Snoop has always been open about his cannabis advocacy, years of constant smoking and late nights inevitably took a toll on his body. Reports of exhaustion, fainting spells, and hospital visits have worried fans who see the toll decades of living large can leave on even the strongest personalities. In interviews, Snoop himself has admitted that age and health have caught up with him. At 53, he now speaks more about moderation, about balancing work and wellness, and about being around long enough to watch his grandchildren grow up. Isn't it striking how even those who once seemed invincible must eventually face the same fragility we all do? Despite the challenges, Snoop's resilience shines through. He remains active in music business and philanthropy, but with more awareness of his health. He has shifted his diet, incorporated exercise, and placed a stronger emphasis on family life. His transformation is not about abandoning his identity, but about evolving, proving that legends can adapt and thrive while acknowledging their mortality. Snoop's willingness to be open about his struggles has only deepened his bond with fans. Rather than hide behind a flawless image, he has embraced transparency, letting the world see both the highs and the lows. In doing so, he humanizes the idea of fame, showing that even icons must grapple with aging and the consequences of past choices. His legacy extends beyond music charts. Snoop Dogg has become a cultural figure whose influence spans entertainment, fashion, sports, and entrepreneurship. Yet what makes his journey compelling is not only his success, but his ability to face the realities of health, decline with honesty and humor. For millions who grew up with his music, his story is a reminder that even legends must confront time. But that doesn't mean their fire has to fade. Snoop Dogg's battle is not about surrender. It is about adaptation. He proves that greatness is not just about breaking records or selling millions. It is about knowing when to change, when to heal, and when to keep moving forward. Fantasia Barrino. Fantasia Barrino's story is one of raw talent, public triumph, and deeply personal struggle. Born in High Point, North Carolina in 1984, she grew up in a family of gospel singers and discovered early that her voice could move people to tears. At just 19 years old, she captured America's heart by winning American Idol in 2004. Her debut album, Free Yourself, went platinum, earning Grammy nominations and launching her into stardom with hits like Truth Is and When I See You. For a moment, Fantasia appeared unstoppable, an R&B powerhouse destined for decades of success. Yet fame did not shield her from darkness. Behind the bright lights, Fantasia battled crippling depression and anxiety. Public scandals and financial struggles piled onto the pressure, and by 2010, she reached a breaking point. She was hospitalized after an overdose that she later described as a cry for help rather than a suicide attempt. The headlines painted a picture of chaos, but inside Fantasia was a young woman drowning under expectations she never felt prepared for. The toll was not only emotional, but physical. Stress caused her to lose drastic amounts of weight, and the exhaustion of constant performances left her drained. At times, she confessed she no longer recognized herself in the mirror. Can you imagine having the world cheer for your voice while privately feeling like your spirit is breaking apart? But Fantasia refused to be defined by tragedy. She sought therapy, leaned on her faith, and slowly rebuilt her confidence. By 2013, she returned with her album, Side Effects of You, a critically acclaimed record that showed her maturity and resilience. In later years, she embraced gospel and theater, starring in Broadway's The Color Purple and earning rave reviews. Her openness about mental health has since inspired countless fans facing similar struggles. She has spoken candidly about the importance of seeking help and breaking the stigma surrounding depression, especially within the Black community. Her journey from despair to renewal is now part of her artistry. Every note she sings carries the weight of someone who has fought to stay alive. Fantasia Barrino remains not only a singer, but a survivor. Her legacy is not just in platinum records, but in her ability to transform pain into power, showing that resilience can rise even from the darkest valleys. Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland is a name that changed the world of ballet forever. Born in 1982 in Kansas City and raised in California, she did not begin formal ballet training until the age of 13, considered late in a discipline where most start as children. Yet her extraordinary talent quickly became undeniable. By 2015, she made history as the first African-American woman promoted to principal dancer at the prestigious American Ballet Theater, shattering barriers in a world long dominated by Eurocentric ideals of beauty and form. On stage, Copeland is a vision of grace and strength, her movements fluid and seemingly effortless. But beneath the perfection lies years of unimaginable physical pain. Ballet demands relentless discipline hours of daily rehearsals, endless repetition, and brutal pressure to maintain peak physical condition. For Misty, this regimen led to chronic back injuries, shin splints, and stress fractures that could have ended her career. At several points, doctors warned her that continuing to dance might cause permanent damage. Still, Misty pressed on. She trained through pain-wrapped injuries and pushed her body to extremes few could endure. Isn't it astonishing how much agony can be hidden behind a radiant smile and flawless performance? Her journey was not only physical, but deeply emotional. As one of the very few Black ballerinas in elite companies, she faced criticism and prejudice. She was told her body was too muscular, or that she didn't fit the traditional image of a ballerina. Instead of letting those words break her, she turned them into fuel, using her visibility to advocate for diversity and representation in classical dance. Misty also became a cultural figure beyond ballet. She published memoirs, appeared in documentaries, and partnered with major brands to bring ballet into mainstream culture. Her advocacy for young dancers, especially those of color, has opened doors that were once closed. Even as injuries continue to follow her, Copeland refuses to surrender. She carefully balances rehabilitation with performance, adapting her routines to protect her health while still dazzling audiences. Each time she steps on stage, she is not just dancing, she is battling pain, defying stereotypes, and rewriting history. Misty Copeland's legacy lies in both her artistry and her resilience. She represents the triumph of perseverance over prejudice, of passion over pain. For every young dancer who doubts their place in the ballet world, her story stands as proof that barriers can be broken. Her grace is not just in movement, but in her ability to endure suffering with dignity and turn it into something beautiful. LisaRaye McCoy. LisaRaye McCoy is often remembered as the striking actress whose beauty and charm lit up both television and film. Born in Chicago in 1967, she began her career in the late 1980s, but it was her breakout role as Diana Diamond Armstrong in The Players Club 1998 that catapulted her into stardom. Audiences were captivated not only by her looks, but also by the rawness and authenticity she brought to her characters. From there, she continued to shine in television, most notably in the sitcom All of Us, 2003-2007, produced by Will and Jada Pinkett Smith. With ventures in film, fashion, and philanthropy, LisaRaye built a career that reflected independence, strength, and ambition. Yet away from the glamour of Hollywood, McCoy has endured invisible battles. She has openly shared her struggles with depression, describing it as a silent weight that often left her feeling isolated and overwhelmed. Despite public appearances where she appeared confident and unshakable, LisaRaye confessed that internally she sometimes felt like she was drowning in silence. The pressure of maintaining an image of success while privately fighting emotional turmoil took its toll. Mental health challenges are often stigmatized, especially in the entertainment industry and within the Black community. Instead of hiding, LisaRaye chose to speak out, breaking barriers by discussing her personal experiences with depression. Her honesty resonated with fans who admired her vulnerability. Imagine being celebrated by millions, yet privately battling the fear of admitting weakness. Would you have the courage to reveal the truth? LisaRaye's openness became part of her legacy. She encouraged others to seek therapy and support, dismantling the idea that strength means suffering in silence. By addressing her own battles, she turned pain into empowerment, inspiring people to prioritize their mental health. In addition to her advocacy, McCoy has continued to build her career and personal brand, embracing maturity and wisdom. She has spoken candidly about the importance of self-love and finding inner peace, lessons drawn directly from her struggles. For fans, she is more than an actress. She is a survivor whose transparency has given hope to those facing similar challenges. LisaRaye McCoy reminds us that resilience is not about hiding scars, but about wearing them as proof of survival. Her story stands as a testament that true strength is found not in perfection, but in the courage to confront pain and emerge stronger. Bill Cosby. For decades, Bill Cosby was known as America's dad, the beloved comedian and actor who broke barriers and brought warmth to millions of households. Born in Philadelphia in 1937, Cosby built his career through stand-up comedy, before rising to fame with I Spy in the 1960s, where he became the first Black actor to star in a dramatic television series. His most iconic success came with The Cosby Show, 1984 to 1992, a groundbreaking sitcom that portrayed a successful Black family and reshaped how African Americans were represented on television. With multiple Emmy Awards, Golden Globes, and a career spanning decades, Cosby became one of the most influential entertainers of the 20th century. But as the years passed, his legacy unraveled amid scandals, legal battles, and public disgrace. Beyond reputation, Cosby has also faced a relentless decline in health. At more than 80 years old, he struggles with vision loss, frailty, and exhaustion. Courtroom appearances in recent years revealed a once commanding figure reduced to shuffling steps, leaning heavily on aides for support. His eyesight has deteriorated to the point where he is legally blind, and he has openly admitted to feeling weakened by age. For fans who once saw him as a symbol of strength and stability, these images have been jarring. The transformation from a confident cultural icon to a man visibly burdened by age and scandal highlights the fragility of even the most towering figures. Isn't it startling how quickly time and circumstances can strip away the aura of invincibility we associate with legends? Cosby himself has acknowledged his health struggles, describing headaches, fatigue, and difficulty maintaining physical strength. Combined with the psychological toll of public downfall, his decline has been both physical and emotional. The man who once shaped culture with humor and family values now battles the erosion of his legacy alongside his health. Still, his story is a sobering reminder of the complexities of fame and mortality. Whether admired or criticized, Cosby's current state forces us to confront uncomfortable truths that time spares no one, that fame cannot protect against decline, and that the choices we make in life echo into our later years. Bill Cosby's decline, both in health and reputation, marks a dramatic fall from grace. Yet within it lies a universal message: no matter how high we rise, we remain human, subject to age, illness, and the consequences of our actions. For fans and critics alike, his journey reflects the stark reality that legacy is fragile, and that greatness once lost may never be regained. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players in history. A towering figure who not only dominated the NBA, but also redefined what it meant to be a black athlete in America. Born Ferdinand Louis Alcindor Jr. in 1947, he converted to Islam and changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1971, symbolizing a new chapter in both his personal and professional life. Over a two-decade career, he won 6 NBA championships and 6 league MVP awards, holding the all-time scoring record for nearly 40 years, with 387 points, before LeBron James surpassed it in 2023. His trademark skyhook shot became one of the most unstoppable moves in basketball history. Yet even legends must eventually confront the fragility of the human body. In 2009, Abdul-Jabbar revealed that he had been diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia, a rare form of blood cancer. The diagnosis shocked fans worldwide, as he had always seemed invincible on the court and off. Treatment included medication and chemotherapy, which left him physically drained. The once unstoppable athlete suddenly faced an opponent he could not simply outscore or outmaneuver. During the early stages of treatment, Abdul-Jabbar admitted that he feared for his life. The side effects were grueling hair loss, swelling fatigue, and a weakened immune system. At times, even walking short distances proved exhausting. He confessed that the thought of leaving his children and grandchildren behind weighed heavily on him. Would you have the courage to face such a diagnosis head-on, knowing your life's clock might be ticking faster than expected? Instead of retreating into silence, Abdul-Jabbar used his battle as a platform. He became a vocal advocate for cancer awareness, urging regular checkups and speaking especially to the black community about the importance of early detection and healthcare access. He reminded people that while he had the best doctors, many others lacked resources and that disparity had to be addressed. Thankfully, his treatments were effective and the cancer was brought under control. Though no longer the dominant force on the basketball court, Abdul-Jabbar continued to write, lecture, and advocate for social justice. His essays on race, politics, and culture appeared in leading newspapers and magazines, showing that his legacy extends far beyond basketball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's journey demonstrates that true greatness lies not only in championships and records, but in the ability to transform personal battles into public strength. His resilience continues to inspire, proving that even when illness strikes, dignity and purpose can shine brighter than fear. Kym Whitley. Kym Whitley is a name that brings instant smiles to fans of comedy and television. Born in 1961 in Cleveland, Ohio, she carved out a career as one of Hollywood's most versatile comedic actresses. Known for her scene-stealing performances in shows like The Parkers, 1999 to 2004, Next Friday 2000, and Young and Hungry, 2014 to 2018. Whitley built her reputation on impeccable timing, sharp wit, and a warm personality that lit up every screen. For decades, she has been the friend who could always make you laugh, whether through television, film, or stand-up comedy. Yet behind the humor lies a woman who has faced serious personal health concerns. Coming from a family with a history of heart disease and diabetes, Whitley has been open about the fear and responsibility that comes with knowing these conditions run in her bloodline. She herself has faced health scares that forced her to reevaluate her lifestyle, diet, and priorities. Unlike the characters she plays on screen, this was not about punchlines or applause. It was about survival. At one point, Whitley admitted that the loss of loved ones to preventable illnesses shook her deeply. She realized that continuing on without making changes could mean following the same painful path. So she decided to confront her health challenges head-on. She began advocating publicly for better nutrition, regular exercise, and healthcare awareness in the Black community, where conditions like diabetes disproportionately affect families. This transition from entertainer to health advocate surprised many fans, but it revealed the depth of Whitley's character. She turned her personal struggles into a mission to educate and empower. Her platform as a celebrity gave her the chance to reach thousands with messages of prevention and wellness. Doesn't it inspire you when someone uses their hardships not only to heal themselves, but also to help others? Beyond health, Whitley's life is also defined by resilience. In 2011, she adopted her son Joshua, stepping into single motherhood with courage and devotion. Balancing a demanding career while raising a child gave her life new meaning and pushed her to take her health even more seriously. She has often joked that staying healthy is not just about herself, it's about being there for her son's future. Kym Whitley's story shows that comedians, often seen only for their humor, carry profound truths about perseverance. She teaches that laughter can heal, but it must be matched with responsibility, self-care, and openness. Her willingness to discuss family struggles, health scares, and personal growth makes her not only a beloved entertainer, but also a role model. Her legacy is one of laughter, courage, and advocacy. She reminds us that while comedy can lighten the weight of life, true strength lies in facing reality head-on, transforming pain into purpose and choosing to fight for tomorrow. Chris Rock. Chris Rock has long been celebrated as one of the sharpest, most daring comedians of his generation. Born in South Carolina in 1965 and raised in Brooklyn, he rose to prominence in the early 1990s with his breakout role on Saturday Night Live, and later cemented his place with stand-up specials like Bring the Pain, 1996, and Bigger and Blacker, 1999. His humor, biting, intelligent, and unapologetic, earned him 4 Emmy Awards, 3 Grammy Awards, and a spot among the greatest stand-up comedians of all time. He also became a familiar face in films from Lethal Weapon 4 to Grown Ups and Everybody Hates Chris, the semi-autobiographical sitcom he created and narrated. Behind the laughter, however, lies a personal challenge that few fans knew about until recently. Rock has lived for years with a nonverbal learning disorder, NVLD, a neurological condition that makes it difficult to interpret nonverbal cues such as body language, facial expressions, and tone of voice. For a performer whose success depends on timing, connection, and presence, NVLD has been a hidden but formidable obstacle. The condition left him socially anxious and often feeling isolated even while surrounded by people. He described how simple conversations could be draining because he struggled to read emotions on others' faces. For a man whose career is built on connecting with audiences, the irony was painful. Imagine standing on stage delivering jokes to thousands, yet privately worrying whether you truly understand the people laughing in front of you. Would you still keep going instead of letting NVLD break him? Rock turned it into a source of strength. His comedy became sharper, more honest, and deeply personal. He spoke openly about therapy, revealing in 2020 that he had been undergoing intensive treatment to work through his challenges. His vulnerability helped break stigmas around mental health, showing that even the most successful figures grapple with unseen struggles. The disorder also shaped his artistry. His stand-up routines often dissect human behavior and social dynamics with surgical precision, as though he compensates for what he cannot intuitively read by studying people more closely than anyone else. This analytical style became his comedic trademark. Chris Rock's story is proof that resilience is not about the absence of struggle, but the courage to adapt and persist. His willingness to share his truth has transformed him from just a comedian into an advocate for self-awareness and growth. His legacy will not only be in punchlines, but in the strength he showed by turning a personal challenge into universal laughter. Wendy Williams. Wendy Williams built her empire on boldness. Born in 1964 in New Jersey, she rose from radio DJ to become the outspoken host of The Wendy Williams Show, which ran from 2008 to 2021. Known for her sharp tongue, fearless hot topic segments, and signature catchphrases like "How you doin', Williams" redefined daytime talk television. Her ability to mix humor with blunt honesty drew millions of viewers, making her one of the most recognizable personalities in media. Yet behind the confident persona, Wendy Williams has endured a devastating battle with Graves' disease, an autoimmune disorder affecting the thyroid. Diagnosed in 2018, the illness caused severe fatigue, unsteady energy levels, swelling in her eyes, and dramatic weight fluctuations. Fans noticed missed shows and public appearances where she seemed visibly frail. The once larger-than-life host suddenly looked vulnerable, sparking concern and speculation. Williams herself admitted that the disease often left her feeling as though she was dying a little each day. The symptoms forced her to step back from her career cancel episodes and eventually led to the end of her talk show. For someone whose life revolved around commanding attention and driving conversations, the sudden silence was heartbreaking. Imagine having your identity built on energy and presence only to find your own body working against you. Would you have the strength to let the world see your decline so openly? Despite the pain, Wendy faced her illness with remarkable transparency. She spoke directly to her audience about her condition, raising awareness about Graves' disease and showing that even celebrities must confront health crises. Rather than hide, she allowed her struggles to become part of her story, connecting with fans on a deeper, more human level. The challenges extended beyond physical illness. Williams also faced personal struggles, including a difficult divorce and financial disputes which compounded her health crisis. Yet through all of it, she demonstrated resilience. She reminded viewers that being outspoken doesn't mean being unbreakable, but it does mean refusing to surrender completely. Wendy Williams' legacy is complex, but powerful. She is remembered not only as a media pioneer who gave a new voice to daytime television, but also as a woman who confronted illness in the public eye with honesty. Her story resonates because it shows that strength is not about pretending to be invincible, it is about showing up even when you're at your weakest. For millions of fans, Wendy Williams remains unforgettable. Her laughter, her candor, and even her vulnerability continue to inspire those fighting their own silent battles. Gabrielle Union. Gabrielle Union has long been admired for her radiant presence on screen and her fearless authenticity off it. Born in 1972 in Omaha, Nebraska, she broke into Hollywood in the late 1990s, quickly gaining attention with films like Bring It On 2000 and Bad Boys 2 2003. Over the years, she became not only a celebrated actress, but also a producer, author, and activist. Her memoir, We're Going to Need More Wine, offered a raw glimpse into her life, cementing her reputation as a woman unafraid to speak truth to power. Yet beneath the glamour and accolades, Union has endured a deeply personal and painful struggle in fertility. For nearly a decade, she experienced the heartbreak of 8 or 9 miscarriages, each one leaving her more devastated than the last. She described the process as physically exhausting and emotionally shattering, saying she felt her body was betraying her. While doctors offered treatments and hope, each failed attempt chipped away at her confidence and left her questioning her identity as a woman. The silence around infertility made her pain even heavier. In many communities, particularly the Black community, these struggles are rarely discussed. Union chose to break that silence, speaking openly about her journey in interviews and through her writing. Isn't it powerful when a public figure dares to expose their deepest vulnerability to help others feel less alone? Her story took a turn when she and her husband, NBA star Dwyane Wade, welcomed their daughter Kavia James via surrogate in 2018. Union has been open about the decision, emphasizing that motherhood is not defined by biology, but by love and care. Her honesty helped destigmatize surrogacy and inspired countless women facing similar battles. Beyond her personal journey, Union continues to use her platform for advocacy. She speaks about women's health, racial inequality, and the importance of mental well-being. Her resilience has made her a role model, not because she has lived without pain, but because she has turned her pain into purpose. Gabrielle Union's legacy is not just her filmography or accolades. It is her courage to stand in truth, to reveal her scars, and to transform personal grief into a message of solidarity. Her story teaches us that resilience is not about never falling, it is about rising every single time. Al Roker. Al Roker is one of the most familiar faces in American television, a man whose warm smile and easy humor have greeted viewers for more than 4 decades. Born in Queens, New York in 1954, he became the beloved weather anchor of NBC's Today Show, turning daily forecasts into must-watch moments. His approachable personality and charisma made him more than just a meteorologist. He became part of millions of households, a trusted companion each morning. But in 2020, Roker shared news that shocked his fans. He had been diagnosed with prostate cancer. For someone long associated with boundless energy and cheer, the revelation was sobering. The cancer was aggressive, requiring immediate surgery. He underwent a prostatectomy in November of that year, a procedure that carried both physical risks and emotional weight. The road to recovery was not easy. Roker spoke openly about the fatigue, pain, and fear he endured during treatment. Even after surgery, he faced follow-up monitoring and radiation therapy to ensure the cancer did not return. For a man so accustomed to bringing optimism to others, the fight to remain hopeful for himself was deeply personal. Can you imagine having to smile on television each day while secretly wondering if you will live to see another year? Instead of retreating, Roker chose transparency. He used his platform to raise awareness about prostate cancer, particularly stressing how the disease disproportionately affects Black men. By sharing his own story, he encouraged viewers to undergo screenings and prioritize health checkups. His vulnerability transformed his diagnosis into a public service, reminding audiences that no one, even beloved TV personalities, is immune from illness. Throughout the battle, Roker leaned on his family, colleagues, and faith. His wife, journalist Deborah Roberts, and their children became his anchor, reminding him of the importance of love and support. Returning to Today after recovery, he received a standing ovation, a moment that symbolized not only survival, but also gratitude. Al Roker's story is a testament to courage and resilience. He continues to appear on television, though, with a new awareness of life's fragility. His journey illustrates that true strength is not in denying weakness, but in facing it openly, using it to inspire and protect others. Roker's legacy extends beyond weather forecasts. It is in the lives he has touched, the awareness he has raised, and the hope he continues to embody. His battle with prostate cancer reminds us all that health is our greatest treasure, and that the fight for life is one we must never take for granted. Behind every award, every song, every unforgettable performance lies the human truth. Our icons are not invincible. Denzel, Janet, Serena, Tony Maya, and so many others have faced battles that remind us how fragile life can be, even for legends. But their courage also shows us that true greatness is not measured by perfection, but by resilience in the face of pain. Which story moved you most, and what does it teach us about strength? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us at Legends of Black Excellence for more untold stories.